We rock headphones to dull the sound of gunshots where I'm from. Escape the war zone formerly known as downtown Norfolk, where it's easier to find a jail sentence than a job. It's the honest ones reaching for something greater that suffered a consequence. So it seems. The word revolution yields stronger vibration than those beats by Dre. Drones by day and soldiers by nightfall. Poet by nature, students by education, poets by paper, military buys machine guns, post them on the block to make our city safer. Sounds like genocide to me. Covering your ears won't neutralize the atom bomb. No sense in being senseless during the end of days. Tune into a higher frequency than fear and ignorance. Higher than blacks being known as screw-ups and crackheads laying their heads down. We might as well drown here below sea level. Falling victim to the perpetual cyclone, swallowing my birthplace whole. Singing happy birthday in those disaster muffling headphones. Go ahead and blast that until the only vibrations you feel are deftones. And don't ask me while I raise my right fist while the naval ships sink around me. 'Cause I was born in water. I would rather float away in solitude, listening to the ocean, than blasting headphones muffling the sound of the truth.
So what's your name?
My name is SharJhea Wilson, but while I'm on stage, I go by Shalina the Poet.
Okay, so where are you inspired from your poems?
I get inspiration in everyday things. People make the world, so anything people watching, that's where all my poems come from.
Now, we'd like to get up our next poet coming to the stage. Give it up for SharJhea! Give it up for us who comes up to the stage, y'all. Let's go. Give it love. Go ahead, poet.
Perception I never told. That story. One that stays, singing, sighing, slowly serenading, sorrowful statements that stick to my skin after the words are spoken. Then, when it happened all too quickly, my mind evicted all possible innocence and innocence. I thought of it as something I ate to cause this ache in my soul. Perhaps my love for buttermilk, but this milk was spoiled. His expiration date was such a young age that it was too old to smoothly flow down my chin. It was chunky within, probably because of his greed for virginity, probably because of my gluttony for attention that I found myself in the situation. I still don't know if that's the truth to this day. That's why I stay more to myself anyway. It may just be that I was lactose intolerant, but that should be no reason for why his tolerance for my free will was so low. I should be free still to say no, but no use crying over with silk drawers, throw the cover over undercover curiosity. Thank God it didn't kill my cat this time. Just my back, I mean my once still spine of chivalry. Wind me up like a tinker, wind me up like a tinker, wind me up like a tinker. Toy with my emotions until all my springs come loose like grandfathered mattresses. Oops, I mean those grand mattresses that helped father your unborn children. Those unborn children were solid blessings. You turned into milkshakes left out to die, to dry like jerky because you were too lazy to scrape up your intentional mistakes from mattresses made girl after girl after girl after girl a babysitter in that bed, sucking up to the head of your ego just so she could crawl home to her bed and never tell this story. Well, I'm telling it. And I am yelling it from the top of my lungs, higher, higher, higher from the top of my lungs, climbing these rungs past higher society. I pray one day in your sobriety, you turn on the TV and see the headline. Live raid for rapists, live raid for rapists, live raid for rapists, and come to the realization that the camera is pointed straight at your dorm room, straighter than the straw aiming to shoot spoiled milk from your silk drawers. I pray that the only thing that ejaculates is urine as the cuffs come out and your luck runs out. And everyone will know the truth about you, Dominic. Everyone will know the truth about this story.
I think SharJhea is better to herself than she was when I first met her. Words heal, and words are food for your soul and for the person that you are and for everything. When you speak it, it's either going to build you up or tear you down, and so it is for the people you speak to. And I think SharJhea has been speaking into herself the things that she needs to nourish herself, because I see her as more confident now, and just a steady growth. I know she's a young lady that has struggles like all of us, but she has a lot of obstacles that she's struggling through and overcoming over the period of time that I've seen her. But I just think she's stronger, and she believes in what she says about herself more and more, and I'm watching her grow as an individual with more, her character grows and her self-confidence is growing.
Now, what would this win be for you? How much would this mean?
It means a lot. I'm always pushing everybody else up and being positive for others. I don't really do it for myself. And so I was really, really shocked when they called my name, especially even more shocked by that 0.1 margin, because the other poets are great. So this just was like a recognition for myself after recognizing all the other poets for so long.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your poem, spoiler alert, where did that come from?
Spoiler alert, I kept for last because that's my truth. It's a cover-up in metaphors for something that I went through in college my freshman year with the guy, which I kept the same name at the end because I knew he was in the crowd. So Dominic, I wouldn't say that he raped me, but it was very pressured. And at that time, I wasn't one to speak up. So it was very close to the actual act of raping. And I never said anything about it until today. So one, it was speaking up for myself. It was speaking up for other people that I later learned it happened to, and then just letting him know everything that it did to me. Hey, hi everybody. And again, I am SharJhea. I'm going to be leading the workshop today for poetry. So if you could, I'd like everybody to take a seat at one of these 3 tables.
SharJhea came to us as a freshman at Norfolk State University. She had just started writing, and the word was out about Hampton Roads Youth Poets and Brave New Voices, and she wanted in. So she came quietly and sat and observed, and she would go home and write and come back and offer her writing.
Again, I am SharJhea. I just want to say 3 things before we begin. Let's remember to first respect the mic, respect the potential, and respect the space. And if we all do that, we're going to have a really good workshop, all right? I have one question. How many of you guys feel like you know who you are? Raise your hand. No? All right, that's a pretty vast majority of people that know who they are. So what I'd like you guys to do while I pass out these papers and pencils, Donovan, could you help me?
Why, yes, I did.
Yes, be a peer leader today. Pass out papers and pencils. What I'd like you guys to do today is to write a poem. You will have 5 minutes to write this poem, since the majority of you know who you are. And the poem is going to be all about you and how you look at yourself. Not how other people see you, but how you see yourself. And just keep in mind while you're writing this poem to leave a line of space between each line or each stanza, verse, whatever, that you are writing, because we're going to need that space later on in the workshop, okay? You guys have 1 more minute.
Dang, them 4 minutes went quick. I have 2 lines.
All right, guys, that's it. So, everybody please sit down. I want to finish up that line. And what you're going to do is take your paper and pass it to the right.
Oh, here you go, buddy.
My friend is not here.
I had to rewrite it.
I like that SharJhea is a youth activist. For me, poetry is a vehicle, and she's a really good writer. But SharJhea will do things for the teens and with the teens and for the movement called Teens with a Purpose.
Andre, pick a number between 1 and 10.
6. Dang, get out of my head. 5.
5.
I was so close.
All right, that's on you. Everybody, let's show respect to Elijah.
Yeah.
The hardest part about writing sometimes is being critiqued. Being told that something could be added, something could be taken away, something just wasn't right with your poem. So what I had you guys do was add something to their poem that you think could have bettered it. And now that you're not looking at your own poem, we're gonna have somebody else read your poem. Whose poem do you have, Elijah?
I have Nicole.
Nicole's? All right, go ahead. Everybody listen up to what Nicole had. And Nicole, you can hear the revisions that they did for your piece.
So I read the.
Yeah, read everything that was on the paper. Everybody, respect the mic, please.
Puzzle pieces laying on the floor, waiting to be linked together, turning left and right, trying to find the pieces that colors match. And yet, puzzle pieces are still scattered on the floor. No picture to be seen, no help from higher power, just puzzle pieces scattered, waiting to be put together. And when they're together, I feel whole, and the comprehension will seep into my existence.
Okay. This table had a really good piece, adding on to Nicole's pieces.
Is this yours, Tiara? It's yours?
That
is Tiara's.
Okay. All right, you have Tiara's piece?
Yes.
Go ahead and read what Tiara put, and Tiara, you can hear the revisions that they did for you.
All right. I want my legacy to live even as I die. I want my death to be the beginning of my legacy. See, my sons will marry your daughters, and your daughters will marry my sons. And grave promises that my legacy will continue. I want to be remembered even after I die.
I think that SharJhea is going to be a teacher. I think she is going to be a teaching artist. Her poetry is outstanding. I've watched her teach workshops with the teenagers. She's so good at it, and she talks about it. I know that we're going to give her every opportunity to use that, and I just see her being a leader and a teaching artist that lives what they write and speak.
Now the next poet here to grace our stage is Tierra. Get up for Tierra, y'all!
My poem is titled Disease. My heart beats fast, fast, and faster. My stomach swarms with butterflies as I take deep breaths to try silently to catch my breath. My voice cracks and my eyes gleam. Because of you, I caught the disease. The one that overtakes you and has your heart and mind in constant battle. Because of you, I caught the disease. The one where there is no cure. You make me sick. You make me lovesick. My eyes gleam with joy when I see your face, and my heart begins to win like it always does. Because of you, I caught the disease of love.
We went to Virginia Beach to the Youth Development Center in Pembroke Mall, and we had auditions for poets, and that's where we met Tierra. The director of the organization had let us know that she was writing, and she, was really encouraging her to try out to be a part of the Hampton Roads Youth Poets. So through doing our regular Vibes Teen open mic there, that's how she was introduced to us and us to her. And then she came to the slam. Actually, Tierra made it. Tierra didn't make it to the Grand Slam. She made it to the Grand Slam, but she was, I think, like 7th and not in the final top six that was supposed to go. But what Tierra did from the first competition all the way through, soon as she competed, she started coming to the teen center and doing the workshops, doing the poet retreat. So even before she knew whether she made it or not, she committed to being a part of this. She committed to learning more about poetry and practicing. She committed to events and workshops that the organization had that weren't necessarily poetry. And so when one person who had qualified dropped out, she was able to move up.
Well, what I'm gaining from here, what I want to gain from here, I want to be more comfortable in front of people, because the profession I want to go into, I want to be a business lawyer and then to one day become a Supreme Court judge. So I know that I have to be comfortable in front of people. So I know that this will be my stepping grounds in order to be comfortable, you know what I mean? And I also want to get my inspiration out there. I want to get my points out there, what I'm feeling, and I want other people to feel what I'm feeling. So. That's it.
Oh!
It's gonna be our first time. I got all my words.
Eat church grab your hymns and turn the page. 747. The Lord is
Hey man,
my
no.
co-pilot.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
When God was young, he fell in love with earth.
She hated how upset she got knowing she was barren. Her geyser eyes shot out water hot enough to burn the heart of God.
God loved how barren her body was. Untouched by no other, he saw purity and she saw sincerity in his tenderness.
They were meant to be blended by symbiosis, synchronized in their sentiments.
Maybe he heard her prayers, calling to him to come comfort her seclusion, sighing something like,
I've been waiting for this for 7 years and praying for this for 7 weeks.
So when they finally got the chance to speak, she took his hand in unity. Then they plunged into a passionate rain dance,
with his waters reaching into the depths of her surface,
flooding her mountaintops,
submerging the pits of her,
dampening the clay of her core. To
be
be
short,
short, Earth and God got it on.
Their affection condensed into clouds of devotion.
Precipitated past fallopian streams.
His adulation infiltrated.
2 months later and 7 months early, an unexpected spring burst forward.
Earth
Earth
bore
bore
a
Red Sea.
Seeing her non-viable sprout cease to grow, she rumbled and quaked, beating on her body, separating her land.
Sent monsoons to swallow her insecurities, that she would forever be barren, and carnivorous conifers clawed out her core, combing every cave for a prayer unfulfilled. She felt her newfound oasis dry into the desert. Even as her Red Sea swamped her valley and swept over her tree-trunk thighs in a saturating shame, she cried out to the father of her unborn, somehow knew he had the answer to her conniption and confusion from this sensation of the slow excretion of her essence.
I remember watching my mother's earth crumble and decay that day. We cried for brother or sister, son or daughter. We never got the chance to meet.
I remember holding my breath, waiting for God to speak. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. I held my breath to the harmony of my heartbeat, hoping to compose hip-hop with another humming, my optimism. Then hums grew to moans, moans grew to groans, groans grew to yells.
She could feel death yanking life from
my womb, erecting his own mausoleum thrown against uterus walls.
And all I could remember was sighing something like,
I've been waiting for this day for 7 years.
And praying for this day for 7 weeks.
25% of women sprout red seeds and call these just a heavier flow.
No, I'm more than willing to bet you didn't know you've probably been my Mother Earth.
Just may look down one day and think to that bloody Pope, you are the most beautiful mess I've ever seen.
I'm sorry. I wanted to do that, you know. Okay. And when we want to be angry or slow,
so that's the spring tale.
Yeah. Basically, it's about can I say my first? Okay. Well, my mother, she had 3 miscarriages this year. Her first one, she didn't know that she had it. The second one, she almost died because it was an ectopic. She had appendicitis and an ectopic pregnancy, and if she didn't go in that day, she would have died. And the third time, she was numb. She wasn't even angry. The first time she was angry, but the third time she was numb. She just had nothing to say, but she was angry, and this is how she felt. She's been asking God for another baby because she wasn't able to have one for years, and this is basically how she felt. She was angry, mad, numb, didn't know what. So
yeah, and then the line where, if you want to say this one more time.
Oh yeah, and when
so
we
the line, you say it together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
She could feel death yanking life from my womb.
The reason why she says she and I say I and my is because I had a miscarriage, and so we thought this would be like the best topic for both of us to spit on, and yeah. That's just,
it is what it is.
It just plays off of her mother's story and my own story, trying to come together. And
well, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna make it that personal when you get there. Then you have to actually become yourself. Then you have to say, when you say I, you look at her and you say, what are you saying? She.
Oh, I can look at
right.
She.
And,
I
right.
can see
that. So it's like you are correcting each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't make that gesture, then it might go over somebody's head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that explanation, it was very confusing. I was like, is that on purpose or is that like?
Right.
I didn't know if somebody was messing up.
So you have to do that with an attitude. And no, I'm actually talking about me right now.
Okay.
I'm saying I because it's I.
Mm-hmm.
mean, I almost started crying for real.
And when I tried to
And
go
that's
through
when
it
you
quick, so
wrote
I
something
wouldn't.
that
I almost started crying. I was like,
you about to cry
oh.
about it, then right. That's what you need to run about.
Anyway, whew.
But when we go through the draft,
Yes.
I'm like, go
Okay.
quick.
One thing, this is like very technical on pronunciation, but you say Baron, and you saying Baron, like ing, the way you say it.
Baron. Okay. Baron. How am I saying it now?
Baron.
Baron.
Over her.
I heard the Barry.
Yeah.
I heard it the second time. She was like, oh shit. She was like, Baron. I heard it the second time. But yeah.
Okay.
And then we're gonna keep going over. We're gonna get that infiltrated.
Okay.
Down pat.
And you said a bunch of C's in a row. I can never say that in my life.
Yeah, that was dope.
Calling him to
There
come
is
comfort.
the alliteration.
Oh,
Or, or combining every.
Okay, well, personally, I'm going to continue my poetry. Yeah, just continue, get my voice heard out there, kind of grow up big here in the 757, hopefully just, not bar hop, but open mic hop around the area. And then professionally, I am going to be attending Norfolk State University this fall, which would be my sophomore year, because I went in kind of early. So sophomore year of high school. And I hope to just get my degree in English and go from there being able to teach everything that I've learned.
As a poet, I always look for like either people and their actions, or I just look around in my surroundings for my inspiration when I write poems. So sometimes I'm talking about somebody, or I could be talking about something, and you won't know until the end, and you're like, oh, okay. So I just want to be an inspiration to people, and I just want to love and love hard.
Thank you.